She pressed record one last time, a single video, a few minutes of footage, and then nothing. No more updates, no explanations, no goodbyes, just a screen gone black and silence that stretched on for days. At first, no one thought much of it. A missed upload, a forgotten post. It happens all the time. But then, the questions began. Something wasn't right. The video wasn't just a vlog. It wasn't just another post. It was a message. And by the time anyone understood what she was trying to say, she was already gone. What was she trying to say? Who or what was watching her that night? And when authorities finally reviewed the footage, what they found changed everything. She recorded a chilling video before vanishing without a trace, and what investigators found in the days that followed is something no one can explain. It started like any other night. A quiet room, a phone camera propped against a stack of books, a young woman sitting just outside the frame, adjusting the focus. There was nothing unusual about it, nothing that would make anyone think that this would be the last time she was seen. Her name was Jenna Wood, 20 years old, a familiar face to many, an online presence built over years. She shared pieces of her life with thousands, maybe even millions of strangers who tuned in week after week, watching, listening, following. But no one realized that in those final moments, they weren't just watching her. Something else was watching too. The footage was ordinary at first, just another late-night recording. But the more you watch, the more you start to notice. The way her voice hesitates. The way her hands grip the table just a little too tightly. The way she glances at the door, as if she's listening for something. Or someone. What was she hearing? Was it just her imagination, or had she already sensed what no one else could see? Over the next 24 hours, her routine would break. No more posts, no texts, no updates. Friends grew concerned, and then came the discovery, the one piece of evidence she left behind. A single video file, her last recording. She was trying to tell us something, but we were too late to listen. To understand what happened that night, we have to go back. Not just to the video, not just to the moment she disappeared, but to everything leading up to it. Because the signs, they were always there. They just weren't seen until it was too late. She had always been online. From the moment she was old enough to hold a camera, she documented everything. Morning routines, weekend trips, late-night thoughts shared with an audience that grew year after year. Her world existed in pixels, in comments, in the artificial glow of a screen. But in the days before she disappeared, something changed. At first, no one noticed. Why would they? People have bad days. They get tired, distracted, distant. It happens. But looking back now, every frame feels heavier, every glance over her shoulder more deliberate. It's easy to see it now. She was afraid. Those closest to her remember the shift, the missed calls, the unanswered messages. The way her voice on the other end of the line seemed off. She stopped going out as much, stopped responding as quickly. When she did speak, she spoke in fragments, like she wanted to say something but couldn't. But was she just tired, or had something already begun to unravel? She told friends she was hearing noises at night, soft, almost imperceptible. Objects weren't where she left them. Doors that had been closed were suddenly open. She convinced herself it was nothing. That's what people do. They rationalize, explain things away. But what if she shouldn't have? In just 72 hours, she would be gone. No signs of a struggle, no forced entry, just silence, and a single video file left behind. It was late, almost 3 a.m., the kind of hour where the world feels different, where silence stretches longer than it should, where shadows seem to move when you're not looking. No one knew it yet, but this would be the last night anyone saw her. According to the footage, she was awake, walking back and forth between rooms, checking the locks. She never did that before. Something had unsettled her, something she couldn't quite explain. The final video was never meant to be uploaded. It wasn't part of her content. It wasn't planned. It was something else entirely. A message, a warning, a desperate attempt to document what was happening in real time. And when authorities found it, they realized she knew. The last video plays. The camera is slightly tilted, as if it was placed down in a hurry. She's in frame, sitting on the edge of her bed, arms wrapped around herself. Her eyes keep flicking toward the door, half closed, as if she's waiting for something. The room is silent, too silent. She speaks, but only in whispers. Her voice, unsteady, quiet. It's been happening every night now. The sounds, the feeling that someone's standing outside my door. I thought I was just being paranoid, but I don't think I am. She swallows hard. I locked everything, checked 3 times, but I swear, I heard footsteps. She paused. She looks directly into the camera, as if she knows someone will be watching this later, as if she's trying to say something without saying it. And then, she hears it, but she doesn't react the way you'd expect. No screaming, no panicked rush to the door, just stillness, as if she already knew it was there. And that was it. The last recorded moments before she disappeared. For days, there was nothing. No signs of struggle, no forced entry, no witnesses. Her phone, laptop, and personal belongings, untouched. It was as if she had simply stepped out for a moment and never returned. The investigation started slow. Friends and family retraced her last steps. Law enforcement searched the area. But as the days passed, something became clear. This wasn't a typical disappearance. And when they recovered her final video, everything changed. Her apartment was exactly as she left it. Lights off, doors locked, no sign of struggle. But there was one thing no one could explain. The closet, the same one from her video, the one she looked at, right before the footage cut out. She knew. Whatever happened that night, she saw it, and she tried to warn us. For weeks, online communities analyzed the footage, pixel by pixel, frame by frame. Some said it was a trick of the light, a glitch in the recording. Others weren't so sure. But if she saw it, why didn't she run? Unless she already knew there was nowhere to go. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and yet no trace, no new leads, no answers. Authorities exhausted every possibility. They analyzed the footage. They scoured her apartment. They interviewed neighbors, friends, family. But every road led to the same impossible conclusion. She vanished, without a struggle, without a trace, and without a single explanation. But there was one thing, an evidence bag labeled with a case number. Inside, a single scrap of paper, crumpled and torn. Slowly, the words come into focus. It watches when you sleep. This wasn't from her notebook. It wasn't found in her apartment. It wasn't even discovered by police. It was mailed, days after her disappearance, with no return address. And then, the sightings began. I swear to God I just saw her. She was standing at the corner right by the gas station. I called out her name, but she just turned and walked away. Some dismissed it as hoaxes, internet hysteria, but the reports kept coming. Different cities, different states, always the same description. A woman, silent, watching, never quite there. And then, one final message. The subject line, "Please help me." The sender, her email address, the timestamp. 3 months after she vanished, but the message itself is short. Just 3 words, typed over and over again. So I ask you, If she's still out there, watching, waiting, what happens when you finally see her? What do you think really happened to Jenna Wood? Was it something human? Something else? And why, after all this time, does she keep appearing? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you made it to the end, be careful, because sometimes the things we watch us back.